Have you ever noticed that the older we get, the more mysterious our nights become? You lie down after a long day, pull the blanket over your shoulders, and close your eyes with the hope of drifting into a peaceful sleep. But then, somewhere around 2 Hank or 3 Onkwaka a.m., your eyes suddenly open. No noise, no nightmare, just an unexplained awakening. Your room is quiet, but your heart feels restless. This exact thing happened to Mr. Carter, a 68-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. For more than 3 months, every single night, he woke up at 2:13 a.m., almost like clockwork. At first, he thought it was just age. Then he tried new pillows, a thicker blanket, an earlier bedtime. Nothing changed. One morning over breakfast, he told his daughter, "I don't feel tired when I go to bed, but I always wake up feeling like I never slept at all." Like many older adults, Mr. Carter believed that waking up in the middle of the night was simply a part of aging, something he had to live with, not something he could change. But what if that's not true? What if the reason you keep waking up isn't your age, isn't your stress, and isn't your mattress, but simply the type of drink you choose to have before going to bed? In today's video, we're going to explore 5 nutrient-rich drinks that can gently calm your nervous system, reduce bladder irritation, and help your body naturally stay in deep restorative sleep, even after 60. Not pills, not complicated routines, just small, simple drinks that work with your body, not against it. Because sometimes, a good night's sleep doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from trying smarter. Are you ready to discover which drink could help you sleep peacefully through the night again? 1. Why plain water keeps seniors awake at night, and it's not what you think. Many people believe that a small glass of water before bed is a healthy habit, a gentle way to keep the body hydrated and flush out toxins during the night. And for most of our lives, that's exactly what it does. But something quietly changes after the age of 60. Your body no longer holds water the way it used to. Mr. Carter, the retired teacher we mentioned earlier, used to drink a full glass of water every night before bedtime. He believed it would clean out his system and help him sleep more comfortably. But after turning 67, he began waking up at 2:10 a.m. like clockwork. Sometimes it was because he urgently needed to use the bathroom. Other times, there was no obvious reason. He just woke up and couldn't fall back asleep again. For weeks, he couldn't understand what was happening. After all, he had been doing the same thing for years. What he didn't know is that after 60, our bodies naturally produce less antidiuretic hormone, ADH, the hormone responsible for helping the kidneys hold water during sleep. When ADH decreases, the kidneys begin to send more water to the bladder, even if you've only had a small amount to drink. In other words, it's not about the amount of water you drink. It's about the ability of your body to store and manage it overnight. At the same time, the lining of the bladder becomes more sensitive. What used to be just a little pressure in your 40s can now feel like an urgent signal that wakes you up from deep sleep much faster. Even one small sip of water can be enough to break the sleep cycle. The real problem is that once you're awake, even for just a few minutes, your brain leaves the deep sleep stage and enters light sleep. For many seniors, it's almost impossible to transition back into deep sleep again. That's why you spend the rest of the night tossing and turning, even if you're still tired. The lesson here is simple. Waking up in the middle of the night doesn't always mean your sleep is broken. It often means your drinking habit no longer matches the way your body works today. The good news is you don't need to stop drinking altogether. You simply need to choose the right type of drink, one that works with your natural sleep rhythm rather than against it. And in the next section, we'll look at what the body actually needs to fall into deep sleep after 60, and why plain water, although healthy during the day, doesn't provide any of those essential ingredients. Let's take a closer look. 2. What your body really needs to enter deep sleep after 60. It's easy to think that sleep is simply about closing your eyes and relaxing, but the truth is, deep sleep is a carefully coordinated biological process. And as we age, that process becomes far more delicate. That's why so many older adults lie in bed feeling sleepy, yet can't seem to drift off or stay asleep for very long. What most people don't realize is that deep sleep is triggered by specific nutrients and signals inside the body. Think of it like building a campfire. You don't just light a match and hope for the best. You need dry wood, a little bit of kindling, and the right conditions for the flame to catch. Your body's sleep system works the same way. After 60, there are 4 main ingredients your body needs in order to gently shift from alertness into deep, restorative sleep. Magnesium. This is like the off switch for your nervous system. It relaxes muscles, calms nerve activity, and reduces the tiny microcontractions that keep your body in a light state of tension. Low magnesium levels are one of the most common reasons older adults get restless at night. Glycine, a small but powerful amino acid that lowers heart rate, reduces core body temperature, and helps the brain enter slow-wave sleep. Think of glycine as the guide that shows your brain the way into deep rest. Tryptophan, the essential building block for serotonin, a calming neurotransmitter, and melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep now. Without enough tryptophan, your brain can't produce a strong enough sleep signal, even if you feel tired. Electrolytes. Minerals like potassium and natural sodium work quietly behind the scenes to stabilize nerve signals and prevent the kind of sudden muscle or bladder spasms that jolt you awake in the early hours. To see how this plays out in real life, let's return to Mr. Carter. Once he replaced his nightly glass of plain water with a small warm drink rich in magnesium and tryptophan, something interesting happened. He didn't fall asleep faster, but for the first time in months, he stayed asleep. Instead of waking up at 2:10 a.m., he slept until 5:45, opened his eyes naturally, and felt rested. One simple change, but it gave his body the nutrients it had been missing all along. The lesson after 60, sleep isn't just about removing things that disturb you. It's about adding the right signals that gently guide your body into deep rest. And the good news? You don't need expensive supplements or complicated routines to do that. There are simple, everyday drinks, things you can find at any grocery store, that naturally contain these nutrients. In the next section, we'll start with one of the most gentle and effective options, warm almond milk, and why this simple kitchen drink has quietly become one of the most reliable sleep aids for older adults. 3. Warm almond milk, a natural serotonin booster. Case study inside. If you walk into any American kitchen, there's a good chance you'll find a carton of almond milk in the refrigerator. Most people use it for cereal, smoothies, or baking, but very few realize just how powerful it can be when used at night and in the right way. Unlike plain water, almond milk isn't just liquid. It carries 2 key nutrients your body needs in order to start the sleep process: magnesium and tryptophan. Magnesium, as we mentioned earlier, helps turn off the nervous system. But what makes almond milk truly special is its natural source of tryptophan. Tryptophan is the raw material your brain uses to create serotonin, the neurotransmitter that makes us feel calm, safe, and relaxed. And here's the important part. At night, serotonin is converted into melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to fall into deep sleep. That means a warm cup of almond milk isn't just hydrating. It's literally giving your brain the building blocks to produce sleep hormones naturally. Let's go back to Mr. Carter again for a moment. After learning about this, he decided to pause his usual glass of water and try a small warm cup of unsweetened almond milk instead. At first, he was skeptical. That's just plant milk. How could that help me sleep? But he gave it a try. He warmed 150 ml, added a small pinch of cinnamon, and drank it slowly around 8:15 p.m. The first night, nothing dramatic happened, but he didn't wake up until 3:45 a.m., an hour and a half later than usual. By the third night, he slept straight through until morning. In his own words, "It didn't knock me out like a sleeping pill. It just felt like my mind finally relaxed." The effect has since been confirmed by science. A 2014 study published in the Journal of Research in Medical Sciences found that adults who consumed almond milk twice a day for just 2 weeks increased their average deep sleep time by 22 minutes and woke up less often during the night. The lesson? Sometimes, the body doesn't need something strong to fall asleep. It simply needs the right raw materials to activate its natural sleep system. But almond milk won't work for everyone in every situation. For people who go to bed with an anxious mind, or find themselves worrying about the day even after turning off the lights, another drink may be more effective. One that directly calms the brain and slows racing thoughts. In the next section, we'll explore exactly that, chamomile tea, and how one simple herb can shut off mental stress in just minutes. 4. Chamomile tea. Powerful for anxiety, weak for electrolytes. There's a reason chamomile tea has been called nature's bedtime whisper. Unlike many herbal drinks that simply taste pleasant, chamomile works directly on the nervous system, calming down anxious thoughts and easing the mind into a gentle state of rest. And for many seniors, that's exactly what's missing at night. Chamomile contains a natural compound called apigenin, a plant-derived flavonoid that binds to the same GABA receptors in the brain that anti-anxiety medications target. When these receptors are activated, the brain slows its electrical activity, heart rate drops, breathing becomes deeper, and within a few minutes, the mind begins to settle. It doesn't knock you out the way a sleeping pill does. Instead, it gently turns down the volume on all those little worries that often grow louder once the lights go out. Take the case of Mr. Lewis, a 70-year-old veteran from Texas. He didn't wake up in the middle of the night because he needed to use the bathroom. He woke up because his mind wouldn't let go of the day's stress. Bills, memories from the past, unfinished tasks. Even if his body was tired, his brain kept reviewing every detail like a movie on repeat. One evening, his granddaughter made him a small cup of chamomile tea. She steeped the bag for 6 minutes, let it cool slightly, and told him to drink it slowly, as if you're drinking peace into your body. That night, he slept over 7 hours without interruption, something he hadn't done in almost a year. The next morning, he smiled and said, "It didn't make me sleepy. It made me calm." Sometimes, your body is ready to sleep. Only your mind isn't. And when your mind is tense, no amount of hormones can lull you into a deep sleep. However, it's important to remember that chamomile doesn't contain many minerals like magnesium or potassium. That means it's great for anxiety-related insomnia, but not strong enough to help people who often suffer from nighttime cramps or bladder spasms due to electrolyte imbalances. So if you're in the mind too busy before bed camp, try a cup of chamomile for 3 to 5 nights in a row to see how your body responds. But if you're frequently waking up with muscle cramps or needing to use the bathroom, you'll need a beverage that can help stabilize electrolytes and regulate your neuromuscular function. And that's where coconut water, when used properly, becomes a surprising but effective solution for people over 60. We'll dive into that in the next section. 5. Coconut water. When it helps, and when it makes things worse. At first glance, coconut water may seem like a strange drink to use before bedtime. Most people associate it with hot summer days, beach vacations, or post-workout hydration. But when used correctly, it can become a gentle tool for helping older adults sleep through the night without being startled awake by sudden muscle cramps or bladder spasms. The secret lies in its natural balance of electrolytes, particularly potassium, magnesium, and sodium. These minerals play a critical role in regulating nerve impulses and smooth muscle contractions throughout the body, including the bladder. When electrolyte levels drop, which becomes more common with age due to decreased absorption, nerve signals can become erratic. That's why even a small amount of fluid in the bladder can trigger an exaggerated wake up now signal, pulling you out of deep sleep. A study in the Journal of Sleep Disorders and Therapy, 2017, found that older adults with low potassium levels experience 28% more nighttime awakenings due to bladder irritation compared to those with balanced electrolytes. After receiving natural potassium-rich hydration, many participants reported feeling significantly more rested after just 1 week. That's where lightly warmed coconut water can be helpful, but only when used in the right way. Let's look at Mrs. Ellison, a 69-year-old from Arizona. She often fell asleep easily, but woke up 3 to 4 times every night, either with a mild cramp in her calf or a sudden urge to go to the bathroom. One day, her doctor suggested trying diluted room-temperature coconut water, not cold, not straight from the bottle. She mixed 60 milliliters of fresh coconut water with 60 milliliters of warm water, added a slice of ginger, and drank it slowly right after dinner, not right before bed. After 3 nights, her leg cramps disappeared. By the end of the first week, she was waking up only once during the night, and the urge was much milder. However, and this is very important, coconut water can also make things worse if used incorrectly. Drinking it cold can chill the stomach and stimulate the nervous system, making sleep harder. Drinking it too close to bedtime can still activate the bladder. Using boxed, high-sodium versions can disrupt your electrolyte balance even further. And people with kidney disease or potassium restrictions should avoid it altogether. Coconut water is not a sleep aid, but a tool for the right people. Those who wake up due to muscle spasms or a sensitive bladder, use it at the wrong time or the wrong type, and you could wake up even earlier than before. If you've ever felt a slight twitch in your calf, a sudden bladder fullness, or woken up after drinking very little water, this is a drink you can try for 3 nights in a row to see the difference. But if your main problem isn't electrolytes or muscle tension, but stress hormones that are still high when you lie down, then you'll need a drink that can naturally reduce cortisol. And there's no better option than golden milk, a golden milk that has helped thousands of seniors find deep sleep after just a few nights. We'll explore it in the next section. 6. Golden milk. How turmeric lowers cortisol and unlocks true rest. Sometimes the body is tired, but the brain refuses to let go. You turn off the lights, close your eyes, and yet your mind keeps replaying the day. A conversation that bothered you, a bill you still need to pay, a memory that won't stay quiet. Even if you don't feel anxious, your brain is still on guard, constantly scanning for problems. That feeling is often caused by one simple hormone: cortisol. Cortisol is essential during the day. It keeps us alert, focused, and ready for action. But after 9 or 10 p.m., cortisol should naturally fall so the body can switch into repair and rest mode. Unfortunately, many seniors still have elevated cortisol levels at night. This prevents the release of melatonin and makes it nearly impossible to enter deep sleep. That's where golden milk, a warm drink made from turmeric, black pepper, and milk, becomes incredibly effective. The active compound in turmeric, curcumin, has been shown to regulate the HPA axis, the pathway between the brain and adrenal glands. In simple terms, it tells the body it's okay to relax now, you're safe. Curcumin also increases GABA activity, which calms the prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of the brain, and reduces low-grade inflammation that can interfere with sleep. Black pepper plays a surprisingly important role here. It contains piperine, a compound that boosts the absorption of curcumin by up to 8 times. Without black pepper, most curcumin simply passes through the digestive tract unused. Let's look at a real example. Mr. Daniels, a 71-year-old man from Wisconsin, often went to bed exhausted but lay awake for hours with his thoughts racing. Even after falling asleep, he would wake up multiple times without knowing why. His daughter suggested trying golden milk and prepared it like this: 1/2 teaspoon pure turmeric powder, a small pinch of black pepper, 150 ml warm almond milk. He drank it slowly at 8:30 p.m. right after brushing his teeth. The first 2 nights felt warm and pleasant, but not remarkable. On the 4th night, something changed. He fell asleep in less than 20 minutes and didn't wake up until morning. In a 2019 clinical study in phytotherapy research, adults who consumed curcumin before bed showed a 23% reduction in cortisol and a significant improvement in deep sleep quality, measured via EEG. Sometimes you don't lose sleep because of a lack of melatonin, but because cortisol just won't leave the stage. A glass of golden milk doesn't just relax you, it signals to your nervous system that it's safe, you can rest. However, golden milk works best for people who suffer from nighttime stress or mild inflammatory pain. If you feel relaxed, but still wake up with tired muscles or heavy legs, it's time to move on to something more powerful, which will help you sleep deeply and rebuild muscles and collagen while you sleep. And that's where gelatin or bone broth comes in, an underrated drink that's a nighttime recovery machine for people over 60. We'll explore this in the next section. 7. Gelatin and bone broth, the missing link between sleep and muscle recovery. For many seniors, the real problem isn't falling asleep. It's waking up and still feeling heavy, stiff, and tired, as if the body never had a chance to repair itself during the night. That's because deep sleep isn't just a time of rest. It's also the primary window for tissue repair, collagen formation, and muscle recovery. And after the age of 60, those processes need a little more support than before. This is where gelatin and bone broth become powerful allies. Unlike other nighttime drinks, gelatin isn't focused on reducing anxiety or balancing electrolytes. Its strength lies in one specific amino acid: glycine. Glycine has two powerful properties. 1. It lowers core body temperature and slows the heart rate, gently guiding the brain into slow-wave sleep, the deepest and most restorative phase of the sleep cycle. 2. It acts as a building block for collagen, helping the body repair muscles, joints, connective tissue, and even the lining of the digestive tract while you sleep. A study published in Neuropsychopharmacology found that just 3 grams of glycine before bed helped older adults sleep more deeply, wake up less frequently, and, most importantly, wake up feeling noticeably more refreshed. Let's look at Mrs. Rayner, a 70-year-old retired nurse from Colorado. She didn't struggle with stress or bladder issues. She slept through the night fairly well. But every morning she woke up with heavy legs, stiff shoulders, and a deep sense of fatigue that didn't match her 7 hours of sleep. Her doctor explained that she was likely experiencing age-related muscle loss, sarcopenia, a condition that makes nighttime repair slower and less efficient. He suggested adding 1 teaspoon of unflavored gelatin to 120 milliliters of warm water and drinking it about 40 minutes before bed. At first, she hesitated. Gelatin? Isn't that just for making desserts? But she tried it anyway. By the 3rd night, she woke up and noticed something different. Her legs felt lighter, her shoulders less stiff, and for the first time in months, she didn't need to warm up her body just to get out of bed. Bone broth works in a very similar way. Slowly simmered bones release gelatin, glycine, proline, and several trace minerals that feed the joints and calm the stomach, all while providing a low-volume, nutrient-rich bedtime drink that doesn't trigger the bladder. If you get enough sleep but still feel tired, sore, or heavy in the morning, the problem is not with sleep, but with the ability to recover during sleep. And a glass of gelatin or bone broth before bed can become a night assistant to help the body repair what age has slowed down. But for these drinks to maximize their effectiveness, you also need one more important thing: the right time and rhythm of drinking. Because if you drink the right substance but at the wrong time, your body can still wake you up in the middle of the night. In the next part, we will build the nighttime drinking ritual, a small but extremely effective sequence to help the body stay properly hydrated and stay in deep sleep longer. Continue with me in part 8. 8. The nighttime drinking ritual. How timing changes the result. Many people make a well-intentioned change. They switch from plain water to almond milk, golden milk, or bone broth, but then feel disappointed because nothing seems to change. They often think, maybe this just doesn't work for me. In reality, the problem is rarely the drink itself. It's the timing. The body follows a very precise sleep rhythm. Certain hormones rise and fall at very specific times of the evening, and if your drink doesn't match that rhythm, even a nutrient-rich beverage can have little to no effect. Here's a simple way to think about it. Your sleep system is like a beautiful piece of music. Drink too late, and it's like playing the right note after the song has already ended. Drink too quickly, and it's like playing that note too loudly. It shocks the system instead of calming it. That's why creating a nighttime drinking ritual, rather than just having a drink, makes such a big difference. Let's look at a simple timeline that works for most seniors. 7 o'clock p.m. Light dinner, not too salty, not too large. 8 p.m. Prepare your drink, almond milk, golden milk, etc. 8:05. 8:20 p.m. Sip slowly while sitting somewhere calm, not in bed yet. 8:25 p.m. Go to the bathroom, completely empty the bladder. 8:00. 9 o'clock p.m. Dim the lights, stretch or breathe for a few minutes. 9:15 p.m. Lie down and allow the body to transition into sleep. This may sound simple, but it teaches your brain one powerful lesson. This is the sequence your body follows before sleep. When the drink comes, the day is over. Let me give you a real example. Mr. Huang, a 66-year-old man living in California, started drinking bone broth before bed because he heard it helped with joint pain. But he drank it at 10:15 p.m. while already in bed and finished the cup in less than 2 minutes. The result? He fell asleep, but woke up at 2:30 a.m. with urgency. Once he simply moved the drink to 8 p.m., sipped it slowly in the kitchen, and went to the bathroom before bed. The nighttime awakening disappeared. When it comes to sleep, when you do it is just as important as what you do. The body doesn't need much technique. It needs a steady rhythm to naturally relax. But even if you choose the right water at the right time, there are still small habits that can ruin it all, like drinking too fast, using the wrong type, or combining it with things that accidentally trigger the nervous system. In the next section, we'll look at common mistakes that cause people to drink the right things, but still wake up in the middle of the night, and how to easily avoid them. Let's continue with part 9. 9. Common mistakes that can ruin the effect. Even if you drink the right thing, it's a heartbreaking feeling. You spend the time to prepare the right nighttime drink, you follow the steps carefully, and yet you still wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. When that happens, most people immediately think it doesn't work on me. But in many cases, the drink isn't the problem. It's the small, almost invisible habits around it that silently cancel out its benefits. Let's look at the most common mistakes. Mistake number 1. Drinking too quickly. Imagine pouring cold water on a hot pan. It sizzles and creates tension. The same thing happens when you drink too fast. Your stomach and bladder receive a rush of fluid, and the nervous system interprets that as a stimulation, not relaxation. Always sip slowly over 10 to 15 minutes. Mistake number 2. Drinking too close to bedtime. Many older adults prepare their drink right before lying down. The problem? Your body hasn't had time to process and distribute the nutrients. So instead of supporting sleep, the fluid remains in the bladder and wakes you up just as you fall into deep sleep. Drink 60 to 90 minutes before bed, not 5 minutes before. Mistake number 3. Using cold or iced versions. Even a nutrient-rich drink like coconut water or almond milk can become a wake-up signal if it's served cold. The cold temperature activates the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, and increases bladder sensitivity. Always warm the drink slightly. Mistake number 4. Adding sugar or honey for flavor. It's tempting to add a teaspoon of honey to make the drink taste nicer. But any simple sugar consumed at night can raise blood glucose, which increases heart rate and may trigger adrenaline release. Use cinnamon or vanilla instead of sweeteners. Mistake number 5. Combining with evening caffeine. This sounds obvious, but you would be surprised how many people drink green tea or even dark chocolate after dinner, both of which contain caffeine. Even a small amount combined with a sleep drink creates a conflict inside the nervous system. Avoid any caffeine after 4 p.m., even if it's just a little. Real example. Mrs. Carter switched to almond milk and felt excited to notice results after the first few nights. But then the effect disappeared, and she went back to waking up at 2:15 a.m. After reviewing her routine, she realized that she had started drinking a cup of black tea at 7 p.m. because the weather was cold. Once she stopped the black tea, the almond milk started working again, almost immediately. The right drink plus the wrong habit equals the wrong result. The body reacts not only to the ingredients, but also to the context of everything you put into it. In the next part, the final part, we will summarize it into a practical guide. How to choose the right drink for your body, try it week by week, and listen to the reaction to find a personalized formula that helps you sleep deeply and wake up gently every morning. Let's move on to part 10. 10. Try one drink per week and listen to your body, practical guide. One of the most common mistakes people make when trying natural sleep drinks is attempting too many things at once. They buy almond milk, chamomile, turmeric, coconut water, even gelatin, and try all of them in the same week, hoping one of them will work. Unfortunately, that only confuses the body. And even if something does work, it becomes impossible to know which drink actually helped. A much better way is to treat this like a gentle sleep experiment. 1 drink at a time, 1 week at a time. How to do it. Week 1. Choose just 1 drink that matches your main sleep challenge. If you struggle with, start with physical restlessness, nervous tension, warm almond milk, racing thoughts, mental anxiety, chamomile tea, leg cramps, sensitive bladder, diluted, warm coconut water, stress hormone, mind won't shut down, golden milk, morning fatigue, muscle heaviness, gelatin or bone broth. Drink it each evening for 5 to 7 nights, following the ritual we outlined in Part 8, slow sipping, correct timing, warm temperature, empty bladder. After each night, simply write down 2 notes. Did I wake up? If yes, at what time and why? How did I feel in the morning? That's it. No pressure, no expectations, just quiet observation. Then what? At the end of the week, ask yourself a simple question. Did I feel even slightly better, calmer, more rested, or less interrupted compared to before? If the answer is yes, stay with that drink for another week and allow your body to fully adapt. If the answer is no, move to the next drink in the list and repeat the same 5-7 day experiment. Believe it or not, most seniors find their perfect match within 2-3 weeks. And once they do, it often becomes the simplest part of their nighttime routine. Mr. Lewis, the veteran from Texas, started with chamomile tea in week 1 and noticed that his racing thoughts calmed down, but he still woke up twice each night. In week 2, he switched to golden milk. By the 3rd night, he sent his daughter a message at 6:30 a.m. that simply said, "First time in 6 months I didn't wake up once." Your body is your best advisor. When you listen to it, you don't need much, just the right thing. And if you want me to continue, in the next video, we'll dive deeper into 3 natural supplements that can be combined with these drinks to double the effectiveness, especially for people over 60. Just leave a simple comment, "Yes, please continue," and I'll send you the next part.